I'm Dr. Vanita Rattan and this channel is dedicated to skincare for skin of colour. So today's video is about how to treat wrinkles around the eye area. Now, this is a common complaint and it happens obviously because we lose collagen. We lose 1% of our collagen production from 21 years old onwards. So really by the end of your 20s, early 30s, you do start to notice fine lines. They can take place around the mouth area, they take place around the eye area, anything that crinkles, wrinkles, as we say. So today we're going to be going step by step what causes it, how to prevent it from happening prematurely, and then what you can do to help the situation. If that sounds good to you, please give me a thumbs up. So the first thing that we should talk about is, of course, movement, and your face is dynamic. So anything that is, so for example, when you furrow your eyebrows, that can lead to wrinkles, and you smile, you're crinkling, you can wrinkle here. Here, this line for me happened from my late 20s and I'm constantly, making sure my sunscreen goes right into the crease. So just because of the way your face moves, you are going to be prone to wrinkling. The other thing is when you're sleeping, if it's very clear actually which side your face sleeps on, because you get asymmetry of your face purely because your facial muscles are being squashed, and that also leads to early wrinkles. So number one thing I would say is when you're sleeping, make sure you're sleeping face upwards. It doesn't even matter if you use a silk pillow or other types of pillows, any sort of pressure on your face is going to affect your skin and your facial muscles. The next thing I would say is UV. UV radiation is our enemy. It leads to free radicals and it damages your collagen. It happens quite rapidly. This is absolutely the number one thing that you need to be doing, is really wearing sunscreen around the eye area. And unfortunately, there really aren't many sunscreens that are good for this area. I myself would wear, physical sunscreen everywhere. I tried to put it here. I put it obviously in here, and I put it here where I know you're likely to wrinkle. Let me see if I've got, so I'm using this sunscreen for around the eye area, but to be honest, even this one is, even this one actually comes out quite thick as well. So I generally don't like tugging at the eye area, and I think that's one reason why we tend to avoid wearing sunscreen in this area. I am potentially thinking about, I'm creating the world's first physical sunscreens, SPF50 for skin of color. I'm also going to create a colorless version, and I'm potentially actually thinking about creating one specifically for the eye area that's thin and light around the eye area, because the thickness of the skin is only about 0.3 millimeters compared to your face, so it's much thinner, and wearing something with the same consistency on your face as around your eye area that doesn't spread as well leads to issues. It leads to you tugging your skin and actually leading to wrinkles and sagging skin, etc. If that's something that you think you would benefit from, so a specific sunscreen for around the eye area that's thinner, that's physical, that's SPF 50, again, I would probably do it as a color corrector and as a colorless version. If that sounds good to you, can you write that down below so I know that's something that you definitely would want? I mean, I know what I think should be created, but ultimately it's about you, and I'm not going to do it unless you tell me to do it. So tell me what you want and I will make it happen. The other way to block UV around the eye area is with your oversized sunglasses. So these are your anti-melasma Dr. V sunglasses, and they literally block UV from going anywhere near the eye area. So I'll link that below for you as well. I designed it specifically for actually melasma, so blocking UV from hitting your cheek area. 80% of melasma starts off in the zygoma area, and then it spreads to around the face. But a second benefit is to avoid aging of the skin around the eye area, which is very thin and delicate. The other big no-no is smoking. Smoking ages your skin rapidly. You have an oxidative stress now taking place in your skin. Those free radicals are breaking down your collagen and elastin. I think the other thing to talk about also is vasoconstriction that happens with smoking, because that prevents your vitamin A from reaching your skin cells, which is also important to increase that cell turnover. So just everything bad happens with smoking for your skin. So we really have 3 types of wrinkles. So you've got dynamic wrinkles. That happens when your face is constantly moving. You don't really see this actually much in children. It tends to happen later on actually in your teenage years. Then you have your static wrinkles. So when your face isn't moving and you still have a wrinkle there. For me, I have one right there. And that's because I smile too much and my teeth are too big and I laugh too much. No, I'm just joking. But it does happen and I do have one right there. And the third one is a wrinkle fold. So once your facial structures start to sag and drop, then you actually almost have like a fold that develops right here. And that's called a wrinkle fold. So those are your 3 types of wrinkles. By the way, I'm just realizing just how bad my nails look, and we're in lockdown right now and I physically cannot get anyone to remove my shellac nails. And so I'm really sorry. This whole week you've seen awful nails on me, and I'm hoping in 2 weeks' time I'm gonna have nice nails. So Dr. V, that sounds great. I fully understand how wrinkles are developed and what can I physically do. Okay, so the first thing is obviously we have to get very good at sunscreen around this delicate eye area. I am the first person to say I don't find sunscreen spread very well in this area, and even I struggle to do it. So, I mean, it's just something that we have to do. Thank goodness I'm like obviously obsessed with these, and so that definitely helps. But all day long, you're inside. Right now I'm 1 meter away from a window, and you know, I've got 1 layer of sunscreen around my eye area and I struggle to reapply it in that particular area. So it is something just to bear in mind if there's something that you actually want to address. Second thing is smoking, and I mean, for many reasons, smoking is not good for you, but aging is definitely something you need to be thinking about. So avoid that. Polyphenols in green tea is excellent. So I would just start drinking green tea every night. And there are other benefits with green tea as well. So that's something I would just incorporate into your routine. In terms of cosmetic creams, there are certain ingredients that I love you to have in your routine. So for example, the moisturizers that I love are things like hyaluronic acid, glycerin, urea, peptides, collagen. Collagen actually acts as a moisturizer in a cosmetic cream. It doesn't stimulate collagen production because the molecule is too large and it doesn't penetrate into the dermis. In this context, it's purely for hydration. It plumps up the skin and it gives the appearance of fuller looking skin, and so wrinkles aren't so obvious. Ideally, you want to use creams that are formulated for around the eye area. And I know there's a lot of controversy when it comes to, oh, do you really need specific creams for around the eye area? I tell you what it is. The actual ingredients are the same. The percentages are actually the same. I think what I find just from a user experience is I prefer to have creams that are slightly thinner, that are smoother, that glide on easier for around the eye area, but also something that's not so runny that it runs into your eye. And as a cosmetic formulator myself, this is quite a tricky consistency to get right. And this is the reason I would say I would want a specific cream for around the eye area, not just the cream I put for the rest of my face. Just because of these tiny little tweaks just makes the whole experience much nicer. And guess what? When you have a nicer experience, you're going to want to do it more often. And when you do it more often, you get better results. And that is why I am actually pro creams for around the eye area. I know there are going to be people writing down below in the comments section, you know, they're very much against it, or please don't be angry with me. It's just, this is how I feel, and you know, you are free to make your own choice. But yeah, I just feel like whatever makes it easier for you to use the cream, that's the best thing for you. 2 ingredients I would love you to incorporate in this area is your vitamin A and your vitamin C, fat soluble vitamin C, so your tetrahexyl dicaloscorbate, because then that penetrates into the dermis and helps to restore collagen. With your vitamin A, I love either encapsulated retinol, so that again it absorbs into the dermis, or your retinaldehyde. You know I love retinaldehyde. It's basically the #1 vitamin A that I formulate with at the Hyperpigmentation Clinic. Pretty much the majority of the kits, home care kits that I'm making for you for skin of color will have retinaldehyde in it. I'm creating something right now which is very exciting for the body. So it's an anti-aging body kit. I can't really say too much at the moment, but obviously retinaldehyde will be in it too. So yes, retinaldehyde is 20 times as effective as retinol, but with 0 side effects. So 0% irritation, which is key for skin of color, as you know. Ingredients to avoid, please, are alcohol. Denatured alcohol in this area is a bad idea. You do not want to be stimulating free radicals, damaging collagen in this area. Please avoid any fragrance in this area or essential oils, because it can lead to contact dermatitis, which is really a bad idea for around the eye area, which is already delicate. It tends to dry out much quicker. That's something that we suffer with. That's why with eczema around the eye area are one of the first places to be triggered. You just have to be very careful around the eye area, and majority of creams unfortunately have alcohol, fragrance, essential oils in them, and it just doesn't make sense to me. In terms of professional procedures, there are 2. One is Botox. So Botox is a neurotoxin that is injected into the muscle under the skin, and it disrupts the way the nerve will communicate with the muscle to lead to contraction. So the way it normally works is your nerve will release acetylcholine, and this is a way to this basically attaches to receptors on the muscle, and that then encourages a contraction of the muscle. What Botox does is it prevents the release of acetylcholine in the first place, and so you don't have that communication between the nerve and the muscle. The muscle then just contracts a lot less, and you get less wrinkling. So that's how the process works. It is temporary. The results last you 3 to 12 months. But it is, if this is something that really bothers you, it is a good thing to be doing. In fact, next week I'm actually going to be doing an interview with another aesthetic doctor who does Botox and fillers, to talk about all the complications, all the things that can go wrong, the indications when you might want to use Botox or fillers. So I'm going to film that next week for you and hopefully release it the following week. The other treatment that people use are fillers, so fillers under the eye area, and that's good when you have volume loss, because to be honest, there's nothing else you can do other than fillers in order to plump up the volume under the skin, in order to almost stretch the skin out on top. When you get volume loss, you do tend to get more wrinkles. It just makes sense. Please do download your free guide, link is down below. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, to Instagram at the Hyperpigmentation Clinic, at Skincare by Dr. V, and on TikTok, Dr. Vanita Rattan. I do tend to ask you a lot of polls and ask you what you want to see on this YouTube channel. So if you want to be involved in the earlier discussions before the video is made, that's a really good thing to do. If you've got any other questions, please do write them down below. I'm here for 1 hour at the launch of every single video. That's why it's important to hit that notification bell for all my videos, so that I can answer as many questions as possible. Thank you very much for listening.